Parshas Emor teaches a very important lesson in Chinuch and in parenting. The Parsha begins, Vayem Hashem el Moshe, Emor la-Kohanim v'amartu aleihem. Say to the Kohanim and say to them. There is an obvious redundancy in the opening words of the Pasuk. Rashi picks up on this and says, why does it repeat the word Emor v'amartu? Says Rashi, Lahazhir gedolim ala ktanim, quoting the Gemara in Yevamis, to teach not just the adult Kohanim, that they've got to keep away from things which are tomei, they've got to keep all the laws of being a Kohen, but also they've got to make sure that their children do the same. V'amartu aleihem. The difficulty is, notes from Moshe Feinstein, that it doesn't quite fit into the words of the Pasuk. If that would be the case, it should say, Emor la-Kohanim v'amartu alivneichem, and say to your children. Why did it say v'amartu aleihem, referring back to the adult Kohanim? Says Moshe, a very, very powerful lesson. The best way to impart this, to teach your children, is to do it yourselves properly. And if you do it yourselves properly, then your children will understand that this is important. And therefore the Pasuk reads, Emor la-Kohanim, you've got to keep these halachas, v'amartu aleihem, and say to them they've got to keep them themselves, because that's the best way to make sure their children will do it. Do as I do, not do as I say. A few years ago, my daughter was in Sem, and she spent Shabbos with the family Nevinsal, with the great Rav Nevinsal, the Rav of the old city, one of the great tzaddikim of our time. Motzei Shabbos, I was very keen to hear what Shabbos was like in the Nevinsal family home. I called her and she told me something remarkable. Friday night they were sitting at the meal. It was a winter Friday night. At about 8:30, 9 o'clock, the meal had finished. Rav Nevinsal and his Rebbetzin, they're older people, they were tired. They excused themselves and they went to bed for the night. My daughter wasn't ready to go to bed yet. She went back down to the kotel. She then came back up, and it was 11:30 at night. She was sitting at the kitchen table in the Nevinsal family home, eating rogalach. And all of a sudden the bedroom door opens. And Rav Nevinsal emerges. And he was up for the day. 11:30 at night. He was going to learn for many hours before the Neitz Minyan in his home. Now I could teach my daughter the importance of Amelus Patorah, of Limud HaTorah, of Chashivas HaTorah. But if you see a man emerge from his bedroom, especially a man with the Hadras Ponim and the greatness of Nevinsal, and he's up for the day to learn for many, many hours before the Neitz Minyan in his house, that teaches a lesson way more powerfully than I could ever articulate in words. Emor la-Kohanim v'amartu aleihem is teaching a very important lesson, that the best way to be mechanech children and talmidim is by role modeling that behavior and keeping these halachas carefully, with passion, with honesty, and then that will be imparted most effectively to children.